So I think he's asking, how can we stop, what can we do to stop people from wearing face muzzles or face masks? Because literally, it's like every country on earth is complying with government dictates of wearing a face mask.
That's a question.
I think so.
I think we need to comply with the government if that's what they require. That's what we need to do. This is a lot of that comes from the scientists, the medical scientists, and we shouldn't allow our opinion and our politics get involved with that. That's the problem now. If you don't want to comply with that, then don't go to public places.
And I disagree strongly with that. It's a huge scam.
Well, I mean, people are dying, and the teachings, though, the ancient teachings tell us, render unto Caesar's what is Caesar's. Until we take control over our government in the right way, then that's the law in order to avoid catastrophe.
Are there any other questions? Any more questions?
Any other questions?
Nothing so far.
Huh?
Nothing so far.
Hello, I had a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was reading when Dr. King received the transmissions that there were many on the other realms who could tune in and who visited and watched. So if we are listening again to transmissions which are not publicly available, do other people tune in at the same time to listen to them if they're not readily available on the other realms?
Yes, I have seen them. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. If you can see, you just look around. Close your eyes and look around. And sometimes you can close your eyes and open your eyes, and they may appear for a minute or two.
Okay. Especially maybe with some of the more elevated teachings that are not available. But it's strange, they're on cassette, but they can't access it, or they're on, they're stored online, but people can't listen to it unless a human is listening to it, or we are listening to it on the physical. They can't read a book that's not, unless we get it.
Right now it belongs to this realm. It was produced in this realm. It belonged to this realm, unless other copies was made and published on those realms, or access was given. So you find that when you begin to teach a class or speak on a particular subject or do a particular activity, a light goes up, and that light is attract those people who are interested or like-minded to that subject, and they come or they don't come, But normally, when you go to give a lecture or do a particular activity, if you look psychically, you will see hundreds, sometimes thousands of people joining you to listen in, especially at the peak of it. If you're not prepared for that, it can kind of knock you off.
Yeah, Dr. King said he saw millions stretching as far as Hyde Park in England when he did it. So you could have so you could have all the knowledge in the world sitting on the bookshelves, but it doesn't until somebody picks it up and starts reading and engaging with it. It's not available to anyone else. It's not energized.
Well, I wouldn't say that, but I wouldn't say that, but you open it up to multiple realms when you begin to voice it. Remember, voice is, although letters are consciousness too, but it's bits of consciousness. But the voice is consciousness. And when you speak something, you speak it into manifestation. You give it life, and it becomes a thought form, and it goes out into the atmosphere. And it lasts for a particular time, depending on your ability to project that thought form, the energy you put behind it, which is your understanding in most cases.
So the greater you understand the teaching, the more people will come, or the more sustained that energy is.
Yes, because you seed that thought form.
So two people could read the same book. Two people could read the same book out, and then nobody and then it makes a big difference whoever if they understand it.
Yes, yes. It depends on the level of that person's comprehension. That person can understand that on multiple levels of existence. And then the other person can only understand it on one existence, or maybe two existence. But the person who understands it on multiple existence, when they speak it, they speak volumes. And that's what makes the difference, because they give life behind those words.
Mm.
One thing you'll notice about Dr. George King's teaching is that you can, and I've been studying his teachings for over 50 years, you can come to his teachings and learn something new every time by listening or reading his teachings. So because of his ability, his understanding and knowledge, and how he layered the information that he gave to the public.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Yeah,
that makes a big difference.
Yeah. And does that also apply to mantra? If you say the AUM, you've been doing it longer, and you have a greater understanding, that more energy goes out.
You can invoke more power. Yes. You can invoke more power. Yeah.
Mm.
The more you chant that mantra, the more that mantra becomes a part of you. The more it lives within you, the more you can invoke the power of that mantra.
Mm.
And when you chant that mantra, you can manipulate the subtle energies of that mantra in any direction you want it to go. Depending on your karmic position.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right.
Are there any more questions? Is a mantra more effective if given by a master or guru, or can a person just choose one they feel drawn to?
It's more effective given by the master or the guru. When you just choose one, you have to chant that mantra many, many times in order to equal it being given to you by a master. That's the law.
Is there a mystic significance to Halloween?
Not that I know of. I mean, there's stories out there, but no, I don't think it is. I'm sure there's some type of historical thing to it, but nothing that caught my eye. Do you know anything of it, Dwayne?
Other than like harvest festivals for the change of the seasons, but nothing.
Yeah, but yeah, it got to be more than that.
Yeah,
How about Annalise? Annalise, do you know anything?
I don't think she's here.
I'm here.
She's not
Oh,
here.
sorry.
Do you know anything about Halloween?
What some people consider it, and a lot of cultures consider it, a time of honoring your dead, along with the harvest festival. And they think it's a time where the veil between realms is thin, so it's easier to communicate with people who have passed on to the other realms.
Sort of like like December 24th and 27th when the equinox or something like that.
From my understanding, yes.
When they claim when the line become thin between the rims, and you can easily switch over or whatever.
Yes.
That's what this day supposed to be that.
That's my understanding, yeah. And the Day of the Dead in Mexican culture occurs around November 2nd. So you have around this time different holidays that all commemorate, the passing of people, your ancestors, and being able to honor and communicate with them.
Okay.
Doesn't the veil between the realms or the realms merge closer, like at what they call the bewitching hour, between like 3 and 4 a.m., like every day?
Yeah, some people say that, yeah. But I don't think that's necessarily so. According to the mystic knowledge of it, I think the real time comes. I think the real time comes when through the phasing of
The new moon.
of the moon and the sun and the Devic year and the Devic months and all that, which runs in lunar cycles and also the sun cycles and the Devic cycles.
What's the Devic cycle? That's like the change of the seasons. That's the Devic.
Well, in the Devic cycles, remember you have 6 months of darkness and 6 months of light.
Right. All right, any additional questions? Okay, I see that there's several people have joined us in the last few minutes. Welcome. Now, once again, today's class is an open discussion. So feel free to ask any questions you have in the chat, or if you're joining us via Zoom, you can use the raise hand feature and ask your questions that way. Also, I want to remind everyone who joins us for our weekly 12 blessing service this Wednesday, November 4th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, 4 p.m. Pacific, is the first hour of Spiritual Push number 4. So if you'd like to join us for that, you can send us an email. I'll also send out an email announcement either later today or tomorrow for that. And we'll just be doing our 12 blessing service to commemorate the start of the Spiritual Push, and then continue our regular services. during the week. So if you're interested in joining us for our weekly 12 lessons, send us an email and I'll add you to our list. All right, well, if there's no questions right now, then we can go into the handouts. This particular set of handouts packet is titled Prayer Diagrams. A couple I put together to help us look into prayer. Nehemiah also sent me an extract from the prayer book, which I will also post in the folder. And we can look at that along with these diagrams to give us a better grasp and understanding of what prayer is and how we can incorporate it into our spiritual practice, and ultimately why we should do so. So the goal here is to give you both some theory and some technique to help you develop and be of service to the world. I have a question here. Wouldn't Halloween be a bad time to project on the astral realms? It seems to me that the thought forms produced by man would be demonic in nature in terms of volume globally.
No, I don't think so. Everyone who's participating in Halloween does not have the same thought or the same concept of what Halloween is. Some people just look at it as a time to celebrate. I would say that there is a lot of negative energy being released because of the celebration, because of moral content of the celebration and activity. But it depends on the person who's projecting what their caliber of advancement is, depending on how dangerous. Although projection is always dangerous, but depending on their level of control will determine their level of danger. The more undeveloped, the more susceptible you are to danger.
Would you say it's a good idea to always try to project upwards to a higher realm?
Uh, until you can defend yourself, maybe. If you can, that's even if you can. But you project to the realm that you are able to project to, because you don't have access to all the realms. But at one point, we're taught, and, that it's our duty to project down to the lower hells to give healing and teachings, because we are responsible for the lower hells. The greater population of the world is within the lower hells. So it's our duty and responsibility to extend help to the lower realms.
So what can we do? I'm sorry. What can we do to protect ourselves during projections? Could we use the violet flame?
You can use all type of projections. The violet flame is just one of them. Remember, your astral body is a risen body. So you have to be trained to use it and trained to escape certain things. So that's a whole nother subject there.
Any additional questions? Remember, it's an open discussion, so you're free to ask You're free to ask any questions you may have. So do take advantage of the opportunity. Okay. So while more questions, wait for more questions to come in, let's take a look at understanding the power of love. Some of you may be wondering why we're talking about love when in discussion about prayer. But I think as we go through this handout and the rest of the handouts, it'll become clear to you why discussion on love energy is essential. Okay, so starting off on the left, we have love is a creative cosmic energy. Love is the third degree of the initial creative force. It says love is an initial creative force. This means it is one of the primary energies of creation, an energy from the original potential that can pull from that original potential. This creative cosmic love is a preservation power. Therefore, love energy is above mind. Right, can you explain those first 4 or 5 points, Nimai?
It seems clear to me. It doesn't seem clear to you, or what?
Well, yeah, I mean, for those who might be hearing it for the first time, that's why.
Love energy is a preservational energy. So if you had, if you break Shakti up the way they did in the ancient books, they broke the Shakti is the power that came forth from the absolute of God, saying, "Let there be light." Shakti is that energy that helped form life. You had the Nani aspect or principle of the Shakti, which was the intelligence behind all movement, all whether that movement was mental movement, subtle mental movement, sound movement, thought movement, or physical action. It was the intelligence behind it. Then you had the universal mind, which is that universal network of energy that shape the energy. And then you had the prana, which is really a part of the mind and the intelligence. And then you had love energy, which preserved the energy in the cycles that it had to go through. So love energy makes sure that you complete the cycles of life that you need to complete. In other words, if you love something, what do you do with that thing? You try to preserve it. You feed it, you clean it, you hold on to it. If it's an object, you encase it to reduce the oxidation, deterioration of that particular thing. You know, if it's a person, you make sure that they have everything they need. If it's an animal, you make sure they have everything they need. So love energy is that energy that we use as a preservational power to preserve something, to make sure that it reaches full potential in the cycle that it's in. So that's why love energy is the greatest energy.
Okay, thank you. And so continuing on, so therefore love energy is above mind. Mind holds matter together. Love preserves mind and matter in its blended state of manifestation. Therefore, love energy is a creative, dynamic power that manifests time cycles. Therefore, love is the power and energy that links all life together. Therefore, love energy is part of all things, and love is a transmuting power. It allows manifested life to transmute over a duration of time, be it 1 second or 100 years. There's a question here. Do you give mantra initiations? Lisa, there's actually a mantra initiation album released by Dr. George King that is available from the Aether Society. I'll post a link to it in the chat. Just give me a couple minutes. Therefore, love in its highest state of operation is an impersonal power. Pure love energy operates totally as an impersonal power. And pure love energy is the only energy known that can create itself from itself. Okay, let's see. Follow-up question, Lisa. I have it. Lisa says, oh, I guess that question is directly to you, Nima. She says she has the mantra initiation CD, but I would like a personal initiation. That is it.
The mantra tape is a personal initiation. You see how the mantra tape from Dr. George King, it is a personal initiation. You have to treat it as such.
Okay, where am I? Okay, yeah. Therefore, love in its highest state of operation is an impersonal power. Pure love energy operates totally as an impersonal power, and pure love energy is the only energy known that can create itself from itself. It is this attribute within love energy that allows it to change or transmute its target or subject of interest. Can you go into a little bit of the impersonal power of love and its ability to create itself from itself, Iman?
Your voice is very low.
Oh,
say it again.
Sorry. I was saying, can you go into that quality of love being able to create itself from itself, and the power that allows it to change or transmute its subject of interest?
Well, love is it's one of the few energies that can pull on the original potential by its nature. Okay, so it's that quality of Shakti power that can reach back and pull on the original potential by karmic law in order to complete its cycle. You understand that? In other words, the law must be carried out. If there's a reaction, there must be a a reaction. And that reaction, even though it's opposite, is equal. So if you start a journey and you come to the end of your personal power to and you cannot complete that journey because of your own negative or positive or indifferent karma, then the law of energy that have been preserving that cycle, if karmically right and karmically necessary, that energy can pull on the original potential from that absolute source called God in order to make sure that that cycle is completed, even though it has to transform part of your existence or consciousness. And that's why love energy is so powerful. Because the divas that make sure that this love energy is available, they will, and they have to bring it to an end, bring that cycle to the destination that it started moving forward towards. From evolution to evolution. And nothing in the universe can stop it.
So even if they have to pull from your own life force to complete it, they'll do so?
Even what?
Even if they pull from your own life force to complete that cycle, yes, they'll do so.
Yes. That's why when you have the certain practices, the divination practices where you call the diva to your presence and you give it particular energy in order to carry out a job, and you know, and if you can muscle that energy to give it to that diva, then that diva has the right to squeeze the life out of your physical body or your astral body, whatever body you're in order to make sure that that's carried out, that the action that you start is completed. So that's the law. That is the law.
So would you say that in predetermining your actions, if you want to accomplish a specific goal, you'd have to figure out first the amount of energy required to complete it before taking it on?
Right. Right. This is not Bewitched or I Dream of Genie. You can't make those stupid mistakes. Mm. You have to be able to finish what you started.
Charlie, those are not good examples, but I'll read your statement anyway. So 2 examples of love energy, along with the willpower, can be used for good and bad. So 2 examples that instantly come to mind is Moses and Hitler. They both had enormous amount of love for their people and used the will to cause an enormous amount of change, one went about it the wrong way and caused so much devastation globally. That's why it's important to love all and not focus so much on the self.
Well, love energy only, there's many levels of love energy, but pure love energy that we're talking about is the impersonal love energy. It was impossible for Hitler to exhibit the love energy that we're talking about. You know, what Hitler was doing, he was enacting the law against him. If you study if you study mathematics, then you study the law of karma. And the greater the mathematics is the greater the law of karma is. And the more you can mold and shape the things around you by the study of mathematics. That's a secret I give you. Hitler's actions was building up a negative energy to him. He did multiple things that was negative to himself and the environment and the people around him. So in mathematics, we're taught that if I take a negative number and multiply it by another negative number, then something positive must happen. It equals a positive number. So those people who go and make their whole life about creating habit and separation and negativity, only thing they're doing is predetermining their distinction, their transformation from bad to good. And with that comes a high price. Hitler's price was not only his death, but his separation of consciousness. So the many lifetimes it took him to build the framework of his consciousness up to be able to achieve the things that he achieved was taken away from him. And his consciousness was split up into many parts. And he had to be reborn into many different bodies until he learned not to cause such havoc on this world or any world he would go to. So that's the main difference. So that's not, the love energy repels stuff that doesn't move you forward. So he enacted the love energy against him, which brought about a transmutation of his built up personality or consciousness.
Yeah, I would say the stories, the examples you use, Charlie, would be are more examples of karma and reincarnation. And Dr. King has lectures, actually several lectures specifically titled Karma and Reincarnation about that, and Life on the Realms. And Nehemiah also has several classes on that as well, talking very specifically about karma and specifically about reincarnation, and a couple classes as well about Life on the Realms as well. So that'll give you a better understanding of that. And Remnants, yes, this is actually being streamed live on YouTube as we speak. So the video will be available on YouTube as well. The only reason a video or a class would be made private is if the mic gives or releases something that should be kept private. But I think so far this class will be kept public and left available on YouTube. Okay, let's see. Where did I leave off? Love and appreciation. Okay. Even basic forms of love energy resembles a perpetual quality about its nature. Love energy is the healer of dis-ease. Love energy operates within entire being or object because it is a preservational power. Love energy is the signature power that links us to everything on earth. True realization and manifestation of the power of love will have you to know that you are connected and related to all life. Teacher and student is linked through the power of pure love. The student will grow in enlightenment from the power of love that the teacher and the student's ability to perceive and link themselves to the stream of love energy from the teacher. The enlightenment of the teacher gives him or her the ability to access the great power and love and use this to express their teachings. Okay. So therein in those few points, you'll see a couple of secrets there, specifically the efficacy and power behind healing, both in the, if you utilize it, the King technique for spiritual healing or any type of spiritual healing technique or energy healing, as well as the power behind prayer. Okay, let's go up to the top again. We'll look at the two illustrations. The one on the left where it lists the 7 centers. At the top, we have the violet box pointing to the Christ chakra. And it says the Christ chakra has 3 faces that vibrate perfectly when pure impersonal love is expressed through it. So what does that mean? 3 faces in the Christ center, and what are those faces, Nehemiah?
Think about the flow of energy.
Mm-hmm.
Ida, Pingala, and Shushuna. And then think about the shape of the symbol of the chakra, or what they call the yantra chakra.
Mm-hmm.
It shows 3 faces. This represents the 3 balanced energy. The positive, negative, and neutral energy, perfectly balanced.
I was trying to see if I can quickly find the yantra, but
Huh?
I was trying to see if I can quickly find it to post it to show it, but I think this is it.
You zoom into it, the circles represent that. And the Christ chakra.
The Ajna chakra. Is this one it? I think so. Oh no, that's a picture. You can't see that. Let me see. All right, so this one?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
You see the three faces?
Yes. And when those are operating in, I guess, alignment or in harmony, you're able to manifest pure impersonal love. Okay. So I just wanted to show everyone that. Let's go back to the diagram. The throat chakra has one face that vibrates perfectly when pure impersonal love isn't expressed through it. And then the heart chakra has two faces that vibrate perfectly when pure impersonal love is expressed through it. So let's look at the Vishuddha and the Anahata chakras. Put that up really quick. All right. So that's the Vishuddhi chakra, the throat center. And this one, the heart, Anahata chakra, the heart center. And these are the yantra diagrams that Nima was referring to earlier. Okay. And these, you could actually find these in like a large encyclopedic collection of diagrams that Nehemiah has made throughout the years. I believe it was published before or shared or posted before online, but if you'd like a copy of that, you can send us an email and we'll provide that to you as well. Right, so there's a couple of questions here. How does this relate to working rituals with Oshun or Ezur Freda, which are representations as love energy?
Which represents what?
So which are representations of love energy.
I don't know. They need to explain themselves more on that. So I'm familiar with Oshun. But these are the mystic principles for any ritual, any practice, any imaginative visualization or elemental type divination type practice. This is the knowledge and understanding you must have. If you don't, your ritual practice will not be effective or successful that much. It would be weak.
Question here, Dwayne. I think it's public knowledge that Hitler was a black magician. I think he's a good example of what not to do. Why do you think that was a bad comparison? Well, I say it's a bad comparison because Hitler didn't use love energy. There is, we're taught that an opposite to love energy, well, which we would consider hate, but it is nowhere near the same power, and it is of a black magic quality.
Yeah, Hitler was he was a black magician. That is right.
Yes.
But you cannot say that Hitler was using love energy. I mean, that's the biggest mistake in his statement. It's not an example of love energy. It might be a fake example of love energy if he would have said that. That would have been more real and true. People have this false equivalent of what love or love energy is. And Hitler and mostly politicians use this to masterize the people, to get them to do what they want. And even though the people have logic, understanding, and many subjects and can see things, they get caught up in this spell that these politicians lay before them, or actress, or performer. You know, they get caught up in that, and they don't see real facts and figures.
Yeah, and we'll get into this more later on, but there are improper uses of prayer. Nehemiah and Dr. King go into specific examples, especially in Dr. King's lectures, where he talks about, or there are groups of people praying for the downfall of communism, or to change a particular leader, or for the destruction of a particular leader, or whatever. Those are examples of the improper use of prayer, not love, but prayer. But even so, Nehemiah also told us in the past that there are times where love energy can be actually used to harm someone, because what he mentioned earlier in the points is a changing and transmuting energy, and you can change and transmute and even release someone from their physical vessel using love energy. So that's why if you look at the diagram, he underlined and emboldened the terms impersonal love. Okay. Let's see. Okay, there's a question here. The trauma in the Black family is very deep. It seems accessing this love transmutation is difficult for our culture. Any exercises we can do to help tap into this teaching to transmute that trauma, or are there any exercises we can do to help tap into this teaching to transmute that trauma?
We can pray for people, but we don't want to directly try to change people. You don't do that. You can pray for for their for greater understanding to come to them. But you don't pray to try to transmute them or change them. That's walking down the line of black magic. Person have to come to their own understanding of things. They have to come to their own enlightenment, the internal enlightenment, and so that they can make the changes. Because it's too much when you go out and you try to manipulate people or change them because you feel that they need to change their ways or their ideals or their thoughts. You may be doing a great danger to that person. But if you can inspire that person to rise their own consciousness and look at things from a greater perspective, then that's what you want to do. Some of the best Orthodox Christian ministers I have met and heard, preach to their congregation were those people who came out of a real controversial life. They did some of the worst things you can imagine. And then they came to their own personal realization that what they was doing was wrong. And they changed their life and became ministers and began to preach and teach to the neighborhoods not to do what they did. So think if somebody came in and cast a spell over them to stop them from learning the lesson and reaching the height that they had reached to come out of that. You would have added another layer to that person's development and probably pushed them in the wrong way because of your own ideal and concept. When their soul and their higher self and soul was molding them for a job.
I think this question was asking about the trauma within the collective consciousness of, I guess, of Black people as a whole, and they were asking how can they.
Well, I answered that. You pray for them.
Okay.
You pray for them. That was my first. But you don't want to try to mold and shape them into your own ideal of what they should be doing. You just pray for their strength and their understanding.
Okay.
I mean, I hope that answered their question.
Okay, this is. Okay, so if you have additional questions, any additional questions? Go back to the diagram and we'll look at the second illustration. You'll see at the top, the arrows pointing to the throat center. It says, at this level, the consciousness manifests itself as 1, basic thought, 2, physical body, and 3, gross speech. And those are important points. So remember that, because we use all three of those elements in the prayer technique. And then at the heart center, there it builds meaning to the movement of consciousness through the formation of the subtle bodies. Then at the solar plexus center, it is the first movement of consciousness and its expansion of self. And at the sex center, we have the seat of consciousness and the starting point and power of self. So a lot of times in these classes when Nehemiah is discussing our discussions, you'll see him refer to the seat of consciousness, and that's the center he's referring to, the sex center. For us terrestrials on Earth, the sex center is the seat of our consciousness. And then at the base of the spine, we have the start of consciousness from the formation of the Kundalini energy. Okay, question here is, I think what I'm asking is, how can we apply what is being taught today to improve our ability to love and heal the trauma? So that's their question. What?
I stated that from the outset of my answer.
So remnants as
Go ahead.
So remnants, as we go through more of these diagrams, we'll go deeper into the prayer technique, and we'll talk as well as the spiritual healing technique, and you'll see as we discuss the technique, the science behind it, as well as what we're doing and how it can be utilized. You'll see examples of how prayer can be used to help heal and transmute and uplift. I'm sorry, uplift is a better term. Okay. Let me see. There's a question here. They're asking if their idea is correct. Is it correct that we reincarnate into different nationalities? The racial problem is dissolved through being both so-called oppressed and oppressor. The goal is to rise above those limitations based on color.
That could be true, and then it could not be true, and then it could not work the way you may think it would. So sometimes a person may have to live in a particular body type for many lifetimes in order to resolve the issues and some scars that they build up in that particular body before they move to another race. And then sometimes you have people that shift back and forth from one race to the next because that's the lessons they need to learn in order to shake them up or move them to a different state of mind or consciousness. So it's like that sometimes. It's not. I don't think you can say that it's one way or the other more than, you know. It's strange like that. You know, I tell you a story. I had a student, a metaphysical student, come to me 40 years ago. And they were seeking knowledge and information on a particular matter. And the person was much older than me. They had to be at least 30 years older than me. And they had heard about me, and I really through his son he had heard about me. And he asked for a meeting with me, and I gave him a meeting, and he was a white gentleman, and very likable, you know, very had a real great personality. He had studied many books in metaphysics, but in his lifetime, he had practiced racism in his early life. He was very racist. He had a very racist type attitude. And he told me personally that he had did some terrible things and had participated in some terrible things against people of color. And he told me that he felt that one of the things that he had noticed in his life, that he could not receive metaphysical understanding from people of his own race, that he always understood it better coming from Black and brown people. And he said that he felt like he had built that karma for himself, because if I tell him something, he understood it. If someone from his own race told him, he didn't quite understand it. And he said every time he found what he was looking for, it came from someone from the darker races. So, I mean, karma is funny, and the lessons of karma sometimes is endless. So you can't say hard and fast that you're going to go experience every race on earth, and you're going to live in every race. I think eventually you might live in most, but I don't know if you will live in every one. I hope that answers your question.
Question here. Do you have to chant? Oh, they're asking about mantra. Okay. Do you have to chant mantra 108 times for each chakra? Or can you do one chakra a day? And how does one cleanse that chakra?
Okay, let's get to this.
Yeah, there's a couple of things he's mixing up in that question.
Yeah. Let's move away from the terminology cleansing the chakra. Okay. And let's do is I'm not saying that's That's a wrong terminology, but it's not a right terminology either. So understand that the chakra is, in most cases, perfectly balanced. It is the aura and the nadis, the aura around the chakras and the nadis moving in and out of the chakras where the obstruction is. The chakras function on the level that it needs to function. So, let's get that clear. So you don't, so I hope that clears that up for you. Read the question one more time.
Do you have to chant mantra 108 times for each chakra, or can you do one chakra a day? And how does one cleanse the chakra?
The mantra is, the rules of mantra is, let's say AUM. That's 3 letters in the mantra. And the rule is that when you voice the AUM, you say the AUM at least 3 times every time you voice it, because there's 3 letters. If you move to another mantra where there's 6 letters or 10 letters or 12 letters, every time you say that mantra, you should repeat that mantra the number of times the letters in the mantra. Now, when you sit down to chant the mantra through repetition, then you chant the mantra in rounds of 108. So every time you have chanted that mantra 108 times, that's one session. That's one mala bead. That's one session with the mala beads, because on the mala beads, or the Catholics have the rosary beads, it's 108 beads on that. Of mantra by respecting the fact that there's 108 chakras within the aura. So every time you begin to do japa, which is a repetition of mantra, which also means you are trying to break the wheel of rebirth by raising your consciousness, then you chant the mantra. You have mantra sessions or japa sessions of 108 repetitions of that mantra, maybe for 10 times, maybe for 20 times, maybe for 100 times, maybe for 1,000 times, but you pick the number that you want to do each time. And you should try to increase the number of times. You might start off doing it for 20 rounds of 108, or 50 rounds of 108, or 100 rounds of 108 on a daily basis, or maybe 2 times a day, maybe 3 times a day. It's up to you. I hope that answers your question.
Okay, another question here. King, where did you get that practice, because that is not a practice that I have not heard Nehemiah give that practice. But the question is, when breathing in the energy, do we imagine gold light coming in our bodies in a spiral, going through the crown, then going through each organ, then out the feet on our exhale? That's not a practice you got from us, King. Nehemiah has given pranayama practices, as well as the visualizations that we should do with those pranayama practices.
Please don't visualize the energy coming in as a spiral.
Yeah, don't do that.
Don't do that. Please don't do that. In the beginning, the best way to do things is to voice what you want, and in your voice is a signature of what needs to happen. Okay? I give you another secret for development so that you can use this to help yourself. Your words are seeds. Which is an imagination. Dr. King tells us that our only creative faculty is imagination. Why does he say that? Because if I think something, I have manifested that thing that I have thought. I have manifested that thing on the mental plane. If I voice that thing that I just thought, I have manifested that on the physical plane. And with that voice, if I voice it in a balanced way, I have manifested, and I have given it direction and purpose. When I say manifest, it has direction and it has purpose. If I create a pure thought of something and direct it with my words, with my mental words or mental commands, I have manifested that thing and it is in action, it's moving. If I try to visualize that thing with uncontrolled imagination, I introduce elements into that shouldn't be there. In other words, I contaminate it. So the purification of the throat center allows us to seed something properly without distortion. And then from that repetition of doing that, we move from a concentrative level to a contemplative level, and we begin to see what we have created. And when we see what we created, we reinforce our imagination. Now, the reason why you're told to do the violet colored flame or the practice of the present daily is because you seed that visualization into being through your voice. And over time, you begin to visually see it correctly because of word picture. And over time, you begin to feel it, and then you begin to actually see it. And you have a balanced visualization of that. And it works. You have to have a very strong visualization on a high concentrated and contemplative level in order to begin to visualize the energy coming down through you through pure visualization. So when you think something without rolling the tongue back, you are whispering that thing. When you roll the tongue back, you're putting on a psychic level. So understand that. I hope I brought some clarity to you.
There's a question here. If we practice with deities from other cultures, like Hinduism, etc., will we have to serve those divine entities in a next life? A practitioner once told me this. This is one reason why I stopped chanting from spiritual paths outside of my ethnic lineage.
I didn't quite get that, what you were saying.
I'll read it again. She was saying if we practice with deities from other cultures, for example, like Hinduism, will we have to serve those divine entities in the next life? She says someone once told her that, and that's one of the reasons why she stopped chanting or using practices from other spiritual paths outside of their ethnic lineage.
But you have to understand Hinduism. Hinduism, there's a mystic part of Hinduism, and then there's an orthodox part of Hinduism. A lot of the orthodox part of Hinduism, they speak vaguely about entities and goddess, and they don't give you the connected dots. The mystics explain to you that these are energies, and this is a realm of divas who have chosen, who are individuals just like you, but they chose to live by the laws of God and not and by strictly by the laws of God, and which is freedom and not free will. Mankind chose free will, so he is in this. He's in this this constant wheel of rebirth that's correcting his move, life after life after life after life after life. When the divas chose to follow the law and protect the law, so they don't have to be reborn constantly the way we are. They just work within the law and make sure that the law is kept in order. So they live between the realms, not on the realms. And we live on the realms that force us through cycles of experience.
And remnants, if you look at some of the practices we do, specifically like the 12 blessings, uh, we will pray to different names of God, the Brahma, the Absolute, or different aspects of God, the Mother Earth, the Lords of the Sun, the Lords of Karma, for example. As we were talking about before, with love energy, all is connected. So whether it's to Poseidon, Yemaya, or other names, it's really just different aspects of the one God, or different characteristics that we're, depending on the intention and the meaning of the prayer or the practice we're doing. So it doesn't mean that in my next life I'll be beholden to Hinduism or any type of religious practice. It just means that for us at our level of consciousness, how we're referring to the one God in its many faces. Yes, Charlie, this is a question I've had many times too. Oh, what are the benefits of free will over freedom, and why did we choose that?
I mean, I think it's stupid to choose free will. No, I don't think there's a benefit. Benefit is that we go through cycles of experience. The thing is that cycles of experience that we don't need to go through. I don't know if we can call that a benefit. Uh, Freedom is saying that you will follow the laws of God, without alteration, without free will. But yet you have freedom. You have freedom to do whatever you need to do, whatever you want to do, because within God is everything, and free will creates this negative energy that have us to go through cycles in order to make us realize the balanced way to use the energy. And energy is sacred, because we live by the grace of God. So there's godlike beings sacrificing themselves to give us the energy and holding up their own development to allow us to move forward. So when we misuse that energy, we bring much negative karma upon us. When we use the energy right, we bring thousands of positive karma towards our way. Thousands of units of positive karma. So, this it doesn't make sense to take the choice that we took, but we did take that choice.
Nehemiah has a couple of lectures too on, well, more than a couple, specifically going into free will and freedom. And he actually has a really good, what's it called? Not metaphor, I guess it would be a metaphor of just that his father gave him in describing the difference between freedom and free will. I don't know if you want to share that, Nehemiah. But then there's also a lecture by Dr. King, several lectures on freedom and free will. And if you really want to get into freedom, the text and lecture is called The 9 Freedoms by His Eminence. So George King will give you a very good explanation of freedom and the path of freedom itself. Now, why we chose that? No, that's well, I don't know, but it wasn't the right choice, I'll tell you that. Now, remnants, what lecture referring to? If on our YouTube channel, excuse me, on our YouTube channel, you can find all of our previous classes and lectures there. Most of them are available publicly. Some of them are private, and for access to those, you can send us an email and we'll grant you access to them. But I will post a link in the chat that'll take you to our YouTube channel. So I see that you're here on Zoom. But if you're here on Zoom, then you should have seen the email announcement as well. And I think there's a link there that goes to videos, misacknowledged, but I'll post in the chat anyway. And I didn't forget to post, I was supposed to post something in the YouTube chat. I think it was the Mansion Station CD, but I think Lisa, you already have that, so I don't have to do that. Are there any additional questions? I don't think we'll go past this diagram. I think we'll finish with just this diagram today, and we'll go into the others in future open discussions. There's only a couple more, and I'll also put the extract in the folder and share it in the Zoom class folder. So you can the link to that is in the description. You can access that shared folder and get all the diagrams there. Are there any final questions before we close out today's discussion? Let's see. I hope I got everyone's question. Did I get everybody's questions so far? I think I did. And so remnants, that's the link that'll take you to our YouTube channel. If I can remember how to spell. And mysticknowledge, one word, .org is our main website. You'll find plenty of resources there available, including several pages of free ebooks that you can download and read and study and be of great benefit to your spiritual practice. So are there any additional questions? And so again, as a reminder, this Wednesday, the 4th, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, is the first hour of the spiritual push. So if you'd like to join us for that service, as well as our other weekly 12 blessings services, you can send me an email and I'll add you to our email list. Also, I was thinking about adding a second 12 blessing service during the spiritual push period. Maybe doing that on Tuesday evening. So if you're interested in participating in that, let me know. And I'll set that up. Ah, yes, Charlie, okay. I did see that email. Were you asking for access to all of the private videos, or were there specific ones that you wanted access to? Because if it was for all of them, then it'll take me a minute to add you to each and every single one. But if there are specific ones you wanted access to, I can grant you access to those a lot quicker. So let me know if there's specific videos or just all videos you wanted. There's a question here, Nehemiah says, why most ancient beings did not have children? King, are you referring like to the masters that have come to Earth? Like, why? Is that what you mean by ancient beings?
Some bodhisattvas or cosmic beings did have children, and some decided not to. So, but majority of them, they was here for a short time, so they had to prepare for the mission and attend to the mission. And I think that's why most of them did not father any children. But in our recent modern time, you had Mahatma Gandhi, who was a cosmic being, and I think he had at least four. He fathered four kids.
G Meeks. I think your question would be better answered in an email. Because you could send us an email with that question. I think we can give you a more personal response to it. Her question is, I feel disconnected physically, but I know who and what I am. How can I figure out my blockage? I've done work and I do not give up, knowing my purpose, but I cannot connect deeper, and my soul desires it.
Yeah, email me. I will talk.
Yeah, send us an email and we'll address that to you. All right, let's close out with the New Lord's Prayer. New Lord's Prayer. O divine and wondrous Spirit, O everlasting Lord of hosts, send forth now through me thy great and lasting power. Allow me, Almighty God, the lasting privilege of radiating to all the world thy great love, so that those who suffer may be given the power and energy to rise above their weaknesses. Almighty God, in great humility do I ask you to send forth your power, to give to me this great lasting privilege of being a channel, so that my suffering brothers may be helped and guided and healed and lifted into thy light, so that they who know not may look up, and in doing so receive their higher selves your divine counsel. Almighty God, this day have you granted me a divine privilege. I ask you now to give to me the strength, so that never again will I turn from my inner vision of you. O great peace, great peace, great peace. In praise of your greatness, O God, doth my soul sing. Grant it energy to sing on forever and forever. All right, everybody. Thank you very much for your attendance and questions. Be sure to review the diagrams, check out our website, and we will see you next time.
All right.